All right, let's see if this thing works. Talk.
Talk.
All right, we are live this week, and this week Mike has come to me with a topic he wants to
Yeah.
talk about.
Artemis too.
Artemis, the the god, the Greek god, or Zeus's
Oh,
daughter. You want
no,
she?
I'm talking about the spaceship, man. The moon mission. The
Oh,
fly.
here we go. Here we
We're
go
on
with
top of
all.
it. Right now, as we're on the air, we're talking, and it's a 10-day mission. We're in like day 3, I think, and basically, it's historic because it's been 54 years in the making.
54 years has taken them to figure out to go to the moon again.
Well, 54 years to get all the resources together to decide to do it. Yeah.
Oh, you meant 54 years since the last time we did it.
Yes.
I was going to say, they're not sitting there thinking for 54 years on how to do this. I see what you mean.
Yeah,
So,
I was 4 years old the last time they had a man and a couple of men going around the moon. It was Christmas time, I guess, in
I
1972.
thought it was 75 is the last time we've been up
Well,
to the moon.
1972.
1972. That was
That's the
be-
last time human beings were outside of the Earth's orbit.
and that was before I was born.
Oh, yeah, a lot before probably most of the people listening to this have been born.
Well, you were born.
Yeah, I was born in 1968, so that makes me 4 years old. I wasn't even in kindergarten yet.
Well, the last man thing I remember was this thing about the one that blew up. The Challenger, the one that sent the teacher in.
Yeah, but we've had missions, even with the space shuttle since the Challenger, and then we've gone to the ISS and in different places.
Well, I meant that actually sent a rocket up to space to go anywhere to a
We
moon or
did.
to a planet.
No, that was it.
Yeah, because
Yeah, we've only been in the orbit for whatever reason. We've decided that the orbit was worth our time.
because well, see, this is where I'm not smart enough to know. Well, there's some kind of debris or radiational hazard up there is what I'm going to call it.
I've never heard this, so this is new information for me too, there, folks.
Well, that's what they say, anyways.
No, radiation is all over the cosmos, bud.
No,
Just that one on planet Earth, we're protected because of the ionosphere and several other factors.
well, it's not radiation where you go into it and your skin turns red and you're going to have, blood poisoning within a few seconds. Or whatever.
No.
What is that? Skin or blood or organ tissue damage that it can cause up there. Anyways, that I think it's unique. I haven't been following it because I don't really follow any of that stuff. I think when we spend $1 million on going up to space to see if there's life, we could be spending $1 million on helping children with cancer.
But we also learn things from the space program, like nonstick cooking. That was just one little thing. Non-stick cooking. The coating that's used on cook pans right now, probably cooking people's meals, was created because of the space program. And there are a number of other things that have been created since then.
And
I can't go into depth. I mean, I'm not going to sit here all day and tell you, well, because you've got Bluetooth or because you got this, you got that. I can give you all these examples. That was not what I got together for. I got together to explain what I know about the Artemis mission. There are 4 people in the crew.
Okay.
3 men and 1 woman.
Okay.
One person is actually a Canadian. It's one of the men. And there's nobody here in this crew that is dead weight. They are all heavy hitters. They are very experienced people, and they're worth every waiting. Like the lady herself, Christina Cook, she's a mission specialist. She's going to be the first female to go in the lunar area at all. And she holds a
Wait a minute. There's been a few astronauts that have gone in the lunar orbit area that are females. There was a Russian who got stuck up there.
They don't list her officially in their historical records.
Okay, which is pretty sad.
Oh, when the Russians were trying to be top secret, they did a good job with it. or excuse me, they were not the Russians, they were the Soviets.
Well,
We'll
what's the
get corrected
difference?
by people on the internet for that one.
Well, what's the difference?
Dogma,
Oh,
politics.
I was gonna say, what's the difference between Soviet? No, I thought it was all the same country. No, I thought it was all the same country.
Oh no, the Soviet Union was 3/4 of Eastern Europe,
But it's the
Poland
same.
all the way to the Asia.
But it's the same landmass, isn't it?
Like there are parts of the world that are no longer, like the Ukraine, for instance, where they're having their one little war, where
Fortunately,
they're killing people because they want to get territory to get to the Black Sea.
because of that.
Well, what other reason they have for messing with a country smaller than them? Subjugate them and force them to change their alphabet to the point that one letter actually has to be removed from the alphabet. They did that for over 30 years.
One letter is removed out of their alphabet.
To become Russian, yeah.
See, I never spoke the language like that.
Write it and put it on signs and teach children, things like that. It's just important things.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's not the most friendly idea, the Soviet Union. It never was.
No. So this man's mission is what's our goal of going back up there, seeing?
This is a stepping stone to head to Mars. We want to have missions on Mars. We want to discover what made Mars tick. We've had a curiosity for Mars for a long time because you can't go to Venus. You can go to it. You don't want to go anywhere inside of it because we don't have anything that can resist the acids that exist in the atmosphere. So that's part of the reason we're going to Mars, is because we can at least send equipment and people to Mars.
You do realize that Mars is not the best environment either. You realize that, right?
Nobody said that it's a sunspot or sunny spot to be in and everything. It's not what it's for. But the idea is to study it and find out, was there life on Mars? We've speculated that for generations.
There was life on.
Well, we don't know for sure. I mean, so just something. And because it's there, it's just like why people climb tall mountains and why people swim the ocean and why people, do what they do, because they feel a challenge. They feel that it's something to try. We've got this whole thing about going back to space, and the reason we are is because we're trying to go to Mars eventually. Like the next rocket will be Artemis III, which will be a manned mission, which will be touching the moon in some way. I don't know if we're going to leave equipment there or if we're just going to have people get there and see if they can operate there. All I know is that that's what they're trying to do in 2028. Artemis I was launched into space and out and back because they wanted to see if it was even able for the equipment to work. Like I was trying to explain to Wade here, this is a new rocket. And this is new equipment that they've got running the rocket. So they want to see if this actually will work. And this is the first time they've let people be inside of it.
So what you're saying is that this is a whole new. To me, it just sounds like they're just restarting. They're not continuing a moon mission. They're restarting the whole program all over again.
Yeah, within reason, because they still get information about the moon from before.
And what about Artemis I?
Didn't I just tell you? That was the first vehicle they built. It was the first rocket they built.
So who went up in that?
The computers.
Oh, they didn't have anybody in it.
Yeah, because I explained to you. It's like building a new kind of a car. You try it out first and see if it runs.
Yeah.
And then you try it out with people inside.
Yes.
Well, we're at the second go, which is the first time with people inside. That's why we're landing on the moon, because we want to just see if we can get there and back.
Which we've done.
Well, they've had this vehicle go without people inside, and it made it to there and back.
There and back again, a hobbit's tale.
Yeah. But that's where we're at. And in 2028, they plan to touch the moon in some way. I don't know if they're building something there or just gonna walk around a little bit and come back, back in the ship and go home. Like many of the moon missions did, where they took samples or spent time there and then went back in the ship and left. But in some fashion or another, they'll be stepping on the moon.
Now, I don't really believe that these people. I don't want to. Mike told me before we started this not to go off on a tangent of conspiracies. But my mind is wondering, Mike, what wasn't finished before that stopped us? it's a conspiracy or not or whatever. And
Oh
now
no,
we're
no,
going
no,
back. Is there
no.
aliens? Is there something, a goal?
Simple, simple money.
If we have money to
It's
fund a,
simple.
if we have money to fund a war, we have money to go to.
Yeah, but no, no, no. There's only so much money in the universe, buddy, and there's only so much money in the country. And if basically enough people decide that the U.S. Congress or wherever it is that all the money comes out through doesn't want to put money at NASA, then we don't put money at NASA.
Well,
I
NASA's
mean,
a whole different
Apollo,
story. That's,
you know why the Apollo mission got so much attention? We almost had guys die in space on Apollo 13
yes. Wow.
because they could no. Listen, it's because they had a problem when the filters. Something about the filtration system went down,
Yes.
and they were going to die of what they call hypoxia because the CO2 was going to overload the spacecraft.
They
And when
would
there's not
have.
enough oxygen, people will suffocate. Well,
They.
that's why, if you remember from the movie, even the movie hopefully dramatizes at least some of the truths. They had to take equipment that they knew what was available in the craft, and they literally dropped stuff on a big old 12-foot table with a bunch of engineers in the room and said, "What could we explain to these guys over the radio to save their lives?" And that's what you got to do when people are several hundreds of thousands of miles away. So well, that's what they had to do, and that's what they did. That was what happened with the moon mission on Apollo 13. And because that was such an emergency and everything, they got attention and went all the way to Apollo 17 before the funding got cut.
Well, the conspiracy side of me says there's more to it than that.
There may well be. I don't know. All I know is that I know what the mainstream history says.
Yes. And you're not much of a conspiracy buff, like I am.
Yeah, where there's a potential it could be a conspiracy. Like, I don't know if you know this or not, but I mean, when we go to talk about conspiracies, I'll talk about the one about the population situation. But that's only when we do the conspiracy show. You set that up, and I will bring my data and information.
Well, what do you mean the what are you talking about, Mike?
Well, the population conspiracy.
What population conspiracy? There's a few of
Well,
those.
okay. Japan is the parakeet or what do they call it? What canary in the mine. Japan is the first country to have the side effects of a low birth rate. They're having trouble taking care of their elderly because there aren't enough young people that are working. And
Well,
their age range is actually increasing to older age because there are more older age people than there are young people coming up.
that's
So
an
we're getting close to this. We're the second country that we know of that is having the same problem. They got that way because of the way that their culture is about sexuality and sensuality and not touching people and not dating until after high school. And all those things came to a head and proved to them that it works really poorly. People don't date. They have what's called carnivore men and or carnivore women and what do they call it? Plant eater men. There are more women with biological clocks that are out there trying to, forcibly get guys to date them than there are guys asking women to date them.
well. I'll take one.
Oh, I take two. If such a thing was allowed, if I was, whatever. But that's not the argument here, buddy. You're not a Japanese man with a Japanese job in a Japanese country because that's where they want you to be. That's what they need. They need Japanese men or people who immigrate there and become Japanese nationals. Because you can nationalize, you can give up your being from wherever country you're from and become a Japanese national, they call it, where you nationalize. Just like people could come to America and nationalize to be an American citizen. It's the same kind of an idea, but they need men. They need men to step up and to date women. And it's not that there's a shortage of women; it's just a shortage of men that are dating women and succeeding to the point where they marry or at least play boom boom in the bedroom with somebody.
Yeah.
And that's not happening either because men are not aggressive like they are in some countries. And even like you down the street in your neighborhood, there's guys that are more aggressive than your average Japanese gentleman. Because there's tradition, and then, like I said, there's also the cultural thing where you're not supposed to date girls until that's why the anime is so weird. Guys have bloody noses and get embarrassed, and girls get naked, and they're scared to death. because that's real life. There's a lot of Japanese men that are scared to death of women. It's almost like, I know when I was younger, women were like, it was like being in the realm of like a goddess or something, because you didn't get to touch girls usually or whatever. So if a girl let you touch them or whatever, you go kiss them or whatever's going on, that was like awesome. And when you were younger, that was like overpowering and ridiculous. And then when you got
let's correct that a little. When you were younger.
Oh yeah, before the conservative wave hit, people dated, people touched each other, people kissed. They don't do that anymore.
They don't kiss?
Basically, they don't get their spark or whatever on or whatever these days, or the app doesn't put them in the right direction. People don't get together. And then you got that thing where you've got the women that, and because of thankfully for the feminism, which is a great agent in my controversy I can talk about all the time, they've got men that won't walk up to most women because they don't want to be considered a creep. Hey, and that's cultural death, because they'll put you on social media. Hey, look at this creep that came up to me. He wasn't pretty enough. And that's basically cultural death, man. Women for like 60, 50 miles of radius in your ass won't even come up to you now because you were a creep. You were on social media. I saw you on Facebook. I saw you on Twitter. I saw you on Slick or whatever all the other things are that people are using out there, social media, because you're poison now. So men don't do that anymore. And then they realize that there are women that are having body counts and all these other nasty negative things that, I'm powerful and I don't give and I don't want a guy that cries and I don't want a guy that feels, and there's all these things that just happen, and that's what these modern women think is the thing. And there are videos out there showing, I don't need men. Well, I guess you don't.
Well,
you push them away.
That's a whole nother.
Oh yeah, that's part of the controversy, though. Nobody talks about that.
I don't believe that women feel that way. I don't believe that women feel that they don't need men.
It's not everyone, but it's enough of them out there that it causes trouble for the young crowd. Gen Z and Gen Y or whatever they call themselves, they don't deal with women in public because if you don't have the right vibe or whatever going on, you don't deal with them. There are guys that'll watch a girl just about hurt herself at the gym because you don't dare ask if she needs help because you don't want to be a creep. You don't have a woman carry things because you don't want to be a creep. You don't hold the door open for women because you don't want to be a creep.
Well, I don't think it's that bad.
Yes, it is.
It's that bad.
Okay, wait, you go out in public, you go shopping or whatever.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw a couple sitting at a table just looking at you? Remember like in the 80s and 90s, whatever, when we were younger, that you would see couples like they'd be hanging out or whatever, and you just see how they're kind of tipped in and they're talking and they're laughing or they're talking whatever, and maybe they were kissing or something because we weren't supposed to try to do that, but they would just lean in and talk and whatever. Well, you're lucky if two people sit at the same table and look at their phones together. Think about that.
Well, that's just the generation.
That's the sign of the times, and this is part of that controversy.
Wow.
This is the secret. This is the secret controversy nobody wants to talk about. This is the war that's happening all around you, and nobody knows.
Well, it's caused by.
Don't worry. America and Japan are not the only countries. Europe is catching up, and parts of Asia too. We just don't have information about South America and Africa as much as we could.
Well, because those people, I can answer that question right now for you. Those people believe in mostly Christian values. You're going to get married and you're going to stay that way. They're not going to have problems.
Okay, this is even a separate issue from everything else. Africa has it where there's a set percentage of the population believes that you get rid of HIV by going after virgins.
Well, that's not true.
And then they also have people out there that believe in witches.
What do you mean there's people that believe in witches? I don't think people believe. You mean the religion of Wicca?
No, we're talking about people that believe so much that things that bad have happened to me and my friends or whatever, and they believe they had a spell put on them because, after all, that is what the Christian belief has said for the last 700 years. So basically, it's finally caught up in Africa where they believe that stuff's still happening because, after all, there are still witch doctors and whatnot happening in some villages and some rural areas, whatever. And education is not high on the map when people are trying to live their life.
I just want to say something really here quick. Just play the devil's advocate, so to speak.
Okay.
I and my family know somebody who was bitten by a black mamba. They took her to the witch doctor, and he saved her life. She doesn't really remember what happened, other than he put some herbs on her and some other, what she called remedies. Um, she described it like rose petals and lilacs and other things on her body, and she digested some kind of what she called ointment. My mom said it was probably a stew or soup of medicine, and it counteracted the venom. So, in a way, these witch doctors and these people that believe in these alternative ways of living are good for the people that are there. I also believe that as a Christian myself, I have heard some war stories about Christianity. I've heard where people are disrespected, they're intolerant of different things, and it's wrong. Jesus, in my belief, would have not wanted any of the attitudes and the horrible treatment of others. He just wouldn't want. Um, with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to look up some stuff on this trajectory because I'm getting interested in how they're going to slingshot themselves around the Earth. I think I understand it, but I just want to see a picture of it. And it's a good time now for us to take a small break. So, the email is snorkelinginthesandbox@yahoo.com.
Yahoo!
And our phone number is 607-238-3816 if you want to be part of the program tonight. Folks, we'll be right back.
You're planning a long vacation or just a day or two. You're finally on vacation. You're wondering what to do. You want someplace that's different. You want someplace that's special. You can have a great vacation in New York. And you say, I love New York. You can climb a mountain. I love New York. And there's such great sailing. I love New York. We can all go camping. I love New York. 'Cause it's so exciting. New York is different. You know, New York is special. You can have a great vacation in New York. And you say, I love New York. What a great vacation. I love New York. What a great vacation.
Fertility rights to human sacrifice. Christopher Lee and Bert Eklund star in Anthony Schaffer's internationally award-winning fable of the ancient gods, The Wicker Man, the most controversial film of the decade.
I mean, you've got fake biology, fake religion. Sir, have these children never heard of Jesus? The true God, to whose glory churches and monasteries have been built on these islands for generations past. Now, sir, what of him?
The Wicker Man, a tale unfolding in mystery and ending in an all-consuming revelation of terror.
When will man ever learn that when he pollutes the air and the water, he declares war against nature? American International Pictures presents Frogs, the story of the day nature strikes back. It was bound to happen, but why now? Why did these particular people on that particular island face this particular kind of slithering, slimy terror? See Frogs, starring Ray Milland, Sam Elliott, Joan Van Ark, Adam Rourke, and Judy Pace. Frogs, an American International picture, in color rated PG. Frogs, today the pond, tomorrow the world.
Ribbit, 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 ribbit.
All right, folks, we're coming back, and I have looked at this trajectory thing, this picture. I guess they're going to they spun around it. They're going out. They're going to spin around the moon. and then they're going to come back around in another trajectory and land in the ocean. So that must be a fun ride to spin around the moon and then go swimming.
Here's the part that's really scary. They might send them, I forget what the name of the spot is right now, but there's a spot in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, that has the deepest place, and that's where they send all the satellites to die. And I wonder if that's where they land them. I always wanted to look that up.
Well, I know it's an effort with the United States Navy. I know that. And I know that when they land, that could be very dangerous too, because the thing could fill with water. They could be tired and do something wrong. I know they have to be in quarantine. I don't know why. They're not out on the moon or anything. But we've always quarantined our astronauts.
Yeah, going into the space program and out, because of the fact that you don't know about sickness and stuff. And we don't know if you can pick something up in space or not. I mean, you open an airlock, a microbe gets in, we don't know.
I don't think that stuff would do it. I don't think you can get germs and microcosms and all kinds of weird stuff. I just don't.
We've seen evidence that basically meteors and whatnot carried some of the aspects of life that we know today on this planet. On meteors.
I don't
things biologically active have shown up here.
But that's true. I just don't think that's true.
It's possible, and they've got information that says that it points to it.
How can you get germs from a place that germs could not live? There's only like 3 creatures that can live in space. And one of them lives anywhere. The thing can live into a nuclear vacuum. If that's such a thing, whatever they call that.
We don't know from place to place and thing to thing what the limits of space are. I mean, there may be beings that maybe can even operate in space and knock on the side of a ship as it goes by or something. We don't know. We don't know what can and can't happen out there. We don't know the maximum limits or capabilities of reality when it comes to space and time and things of that nature. We just don't know.
Well, here's the big thing that I want to point out here. This thing's flying around the Earth. It gets literally slingshotted like a satellite out there. And the orbit they're doing is all in this new ship. It's not the other ship. The ship looks very different. I don't think these pictures that I'm looking at here, I don't think these pictures are actual pictures. I think they're drawings or AI illustrations, if you will. I would like to see some kind of actual drawing, actual picture, actual schematics of this thing, because I'm interested in that kind of thing. Or a real picture of it.
The drawings and images, because I've got most of my information from the news and from video.
But besides the drawings and the schematics, why can't a satellite take a real picture of this thing? Why is this stuff like a little data sheet here of AI-generated images? I want real images, real stuff that's happening.
We don't have satellites that take pictures of spaceships.
Well, we have satellites that can take pictures. We have
people in the spaceship taking pictures of the planet. You can look them up online. You can see them on different news agencies. It's all over the place.
But we have satellites.
If there's capabilities, people can do it. If there isn't, there isn't. It's just simple. If you want to know what it looks like, get your telescope out, take a look. It's going to be around the planet for a few more hours.
But here's the thing. We have satellites that can take pictures of an ant mating in a blade of grass from space. But they can't take a picture of the space of a spaceship?
The Earth.
There's got to be a satellite that's... We do. We have 2 programs that are taking pictures of space. So if something comes to us, like a UFO, a comet, an asteroid, actually, not a comet, another rock.
You don't look out at random times. You don't look out. It'd be like having somebody say to you, "Oh, you're going to go to the state fair, we're going to give you the smallest camera possible. You're going to just be told to take pictures. Oh, and by the way, I won't be upset if you don't get a picture of everything.
Well, why can't you take a picture of everything at the state fair? Why can't you?
Because you can't. What if somebody's cousin Jody was there and you didn't get a picture of cousin Jody because you didn't look at the right place at the right time?
Well, that's not my fault.
Space is. Space is like a million, billion times bigger, better. I know that it probably made up a whole combination of numbers. It's not even a possible thing.
Yeah.
But it's so immense. The universe is so immense, bud. You can't find it all.
You could if you tried. You could if you tried. And that's another.
You could be nice if you tried, but it won't happen.
Why they don't have stuff for these missions? It's almost like they know they obviously know there's a mission. But it's almost like they know to hide something or not to show something or something is not there or we can't show this because they know it. They could put the satellites in orbit a month earlier and start taking pictures at all times or whatever they need to do. They know that at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it's passing by. Why can't they take a picture? It doesn't make any sense to me. A historic event like this, and they can't take a picture of it. I just don't understand. It's not like we need a news crew and we don't know what's going to happen. We know the ship is going to be there at 3 o'clock. We have to know in trajectory. We have to know in the case of 4 people in a huge canister that's out in the middle of nowhere that if something goes wrong, we're in trouble. We know it. Why can't they be ready for it? And I know I'm going off on a tangent. I know I'm having some kind of a tangenting free-for-all here. I realize that, folks. But the point is, Mike, why can't they be ready?
Because there's more to it. There's trajectories and mathematics and timing and gravity, and there's all kinds of things, buddy. If you can spin plates and make them juggle at the same time, then go get on TV because you're supernatural. Science is not supernatural.
But it's a historic science event. They can't be ready for this 3 months before it happens and get 2, 3 satellites in order so that they can take pictures and get more data and get important data? I don't.
Satellites have to go around the equator, okay?
That's what they tell us. That's what they tell us.
Okay. Satellites have to go around the equator. And their speed and distance and investment and all this stuff. And do you think that, you keep telling us only a certain amount of money or whatever for this, that, and the other because we're not getting cancer solved. But you're going to make them go make cameras because, after all, it's very important to film this thing.
But there's already cameras on the satellite. They can tell you.
No. I'm trying to explain this to you before.
They can tell if your zipper's zipped in a car. How can they tell me a spaceship went past? A historic science event. But yet they can tell me if someone's zipper's unzipped in their car. But they can't take one picture of a pass of a spaceship.
This is ridiculous. This is like beyond, this is ridiculous. It's not the same. This is not, you can't, okay, to do what you want to do, you would actually have to think of it this way. If you could take a golf club and a golf ball, you bounce a golf ball on the ground really hard so it bounces up. Then I want you to hit it with the golf club. And then, while it's in the air, I want you to pop it straight up so it'll hit the ceiling so it'll bounce correctly so it'll go out your front door, which you left open.
I could do that.
But if you can do that consistently all the time, NASA needs you.
I can do that.
No, you can't. Come on.
But seriously, Mike, take away your...
Yeah, but the golf ball, you see, that's the thing. There are millions and billions and numbers I can't even tell you the name of of miles and millimeters and everything out there. The universe is such an immense place, and there are so many factors. There's so many.
I'm not talking about the factors. I'm not talking about, oh, the satellite moved. Oh, a radiation thing came off the sun.
We're going to give you a camera, okay?
Yes.
And we're going to have you walk down the street. And I want to make sure that every time there's a human being steps out with their face anywhere in public, that you can see from the street. You can take a picture of every face.
And I bet you I could do it.
In a house, outside the building, falling from the sky, you name it. Exactly every time.
But it's not, Mike.
What you're asking these people to do.
Mike, it's not that. We're not asking somebody to take a picture like that. We're asking something to have a satellite ready at 4:10 p.m. for when it goes by to take a series of 5 pictures.
Wait.
Simple. Very simple.
Wait. Anything to make them delay the countdown.
So
Okay.
what you're saying is it's like balancing on a moving truck while juggling and making sure none of the balls hit the bridge as it goes under the bridge.
Yes, because
It doesn't
and
make
that's-
any sense to me. It's
No,
got
no, it doesn't. It doesn't because it doesn't make sense to you. But it doesn't mean that it's not true, buddy. And then
No,
there's
but-
something else. Hang on, let me finish. Okay. You I don't know. Maybe you can go out the door like exactly when you need to when you've got to go someplace, right?
yes.
But not all of us do.
Yeah.
Well, when they launch a rocket into space, they can't always take off that minute or that second they would need it to go. Sometimes they gotta wait. Maybe somebody forgot to close the door. Maybe somebody forgot to put out the fuel, or some stupid thing. Some stupid
Mike,
detail, right?
Mike,
Or
that
some-
doesn't even make
Stop. This is what we're dealing
Okay.
with. There are over 1 billion pieces of equipment and parts and pieces and whatever, drops of fuel, all attached to the vehicle. Anything can make it not go for 1 minute, or anything can not go for 10 minutes, or maybe an hour, or maybe 2 days. If it rains, if the temperature drops, because they know, because like when you brought up the Challenger, if the temperature drops at certain degrees, water can condensate into an O-ring or something, maybe where the fuel goes through, and maybe cause a leak, and then cause the entire craft to burn in a very colorful, deadly way. There are so many things that can go right and wrong in spaceflight, and there are so many things that can happen to line up or not line up. And when we get 80 or 90% of it ready, that's when they push the button and says, "Let's do this thing." It's just the way it is.
So
because
with
everything-
all this chaos and all this uncertainty, why did they even try it in the first place?
Because
I would think they would plan this from A to Z, from 1 to 100, and make sure every single number and letter is accounted for if they had to draw it on the paper themselves because it didn't type.
my God, Wade, you've worked at places where you had to go pick up people the same time of day every day.
Yeah.
Did it happen the same time of day every day?
Yes,
Bullshit.
because I made sure of it. I took the time to make sure that at that time that I was pulling into the driveway
Not all of us has got this perfect record like you
or
do.
out front or down the street.
It's not a perfect world. You may have lived in a perfect little bubble around yourself,
Yes.
and you may have believed all this was perfect, but it's
Yeah.
not.
I lived in a perfect little bubble that had perfect everything. And I'm saying this is a multi-million-dollar company.
I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going for it. I'm not going to be the one getting all mad and going into a tangent. You think it's funny? It's
Well,
not.
no,
This
what
is
I
not
think
funny.
is funny.
You're not funny.
No, but I just want you to think about this for a minute.
You're not funny.
You worked in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
When a delivery came in at 5 o'clock, you a half hour, an hour before, you said, "We got to make sure this freezer can have the
No.
food. We
No.
have to make sure that the truck can get in our driveway."
No.
Then I must have worked at a different place than you did, because that's what they did.
What? The manager brought it up in the first place, maybe an hour before, and then we had to deal with whatever our regular duties were. And if we were lucky, one of us had the time to go answer the door when the guy closed the back door.
It doesn't
I don't
make
know
any
where
sense.
No, don't interrupt. was talking. Shut up.
Okay.
I don't know where you worked or where whatever, but I had times where we were doing our regular thing. That guy that comes in at 10 of 4 or whatever the time you said it was, showed up for his coffee. That other person came in because they almost always do for their burger and everything else. Well, when you're doing those regular things, you don't always know when that guy's coming. And sometimes that guy's just dropping crap off in the back room until we've got time to go get it. Because that's the way it is. You may have lived in an exact world, in your exact bubble, in your exact universe somewhere, but I didn't. Everything was a possibility of failing. Everything was a possibility of not lining up right. Because that's what the world is, buddy. I don't know where you belong and where you've been, but that's not the world I live in.
Well, I'm just saying that when I worked in fast food, the 2 times I worked there, if a delivery came into the back door, you stood there. When they said that delivery's there at 4 o'clock, we were waiting outside 4 o'clock, hoping that truck was turning that corner, positioning himself to sit there and make his delivery. Plain and simple. We said 4 o'clock, the delivery guy ain't there at 4 o'clock, then screw him, he can come back tomorrow. Period.
That may have happened where you worked, but a lot of places I worked at, that was not the case.
So you're saying that guy could have pulled in at any time he wanted to and just disrupt the entire restaurant's flow because he's got to put stuff into a freezer?
No. What usually happened is if somebody had the time to go get him, we would let him in. There were times, and a lot of times, thank goodness, because we had freezers and refrigerators out back, he could just operate them, and then we'd have to transfer things out from the back freezer area because that's how things turned out.
That is just
nuts. Times where the deliveries or whatever happened, and we didn't have the time to go get it because we were doing our regular things.
That's this. That is just unorganization. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. Now, I hope one of our listeners can either comment in our YouTube. They can call the number 607-238-3816. They can write to us at our email, snorkelinginthesandbox@yahoo.com. And they can cue in on this. They can comment on this. They can get their opinion on this. They can tell us facts. Maybe one of them works there. Maybe somebody at NASA is listening to us. Hopefully we have listeners like that. And can let us know what is going on and when and where. Because it doesn't seem right that a mission like this of such importance wouldn't be ready for the simplest things as a picture to put on the front pages of everybody's newspaper.
Well, they do have pictures, buddy, but there are different aspects. It's pictures from the ship itself, pictures from maybe the stuff that happened at the control center, which is not actually Houston. It was Charlotte, by the way, just so you know.
It's where?
Tell people.
It's where?
Charlotte, Carolina.
North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, yes.
North, I don't know. I get those two confused.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
The city of Charlotte.
Yes. And I think it's a racing town too, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, wherever it is Charlotte is located, wherever Carolina is, and if somebody says, Carolina, this, that, and the other, north or south, well, I don't know that, buddy. My geography works where I know where the the national capitals of most of the countries in the known countries of the world. If you know just all of America, I guess good for you, but I know a bit more. Pardon me for forgetting some of the stuff here in our United States. Sorry.
Now, here's another question for you, Mike.
Yeah.
Maybe you could explain this to me. How long have they planned this mission before this happened?
I don't know.
Did they know the route? Did they know the route, or what you just described is 5 minutes before something 5 minutes after they get up there, they say, "Oh, this is going to happen 5 minutes from now."
Okay. What I was trying to explain to you is that anything for any reason, freakish moment of weather, something went, a resistor went wrong, or a circuit board, or whatever is put in spaceships these days that make them run. Anything could go wrong. There's engineers and control boxes and sensors and whatever else that'll hopefully find major problems. Okay.
Jellyfish.
So anything could fail.
Yeah.
Anything could delay the launch.
Yeah.
So you lining up a camera that says at 5 o'clock on 3 days from now, because we're launching that damn thing today. 3 days, because it's 1.5 to 2 days where they're going to go around the Earth before it snaps away and goes towards the moon.
That's right.
So, and for those of you watching at home, I'm actually making my hand move. You know, you've been talking to people about engineering or whatever too long when you're starting to like make your hand do all the movements. Anyway, so here I am explaining all that. Well, nothing says that it's an exact world and that you can exactly point it out. Yes, you're right. It would be fantastic if we had equipment and stuff out there that could take pictures of the ship going by. But you could do it yourself, buddy. You can hook a camera to a telescope if you want to and try to do it.
Here's the problem, Mike. You buy me a telescope. I have looked at numerous telescopes in my life, and none of them look like they can do anything.
Gosh, I'm not even going to go there with that. I don't even know how to answer a question like or see.
You look into the thing, and I don't see what they say I see. I didn't see the surface of the moon. I didn't see Saturn's rings. I saw blank space with little twinkly lights. Looks like you threw a bunch of twinkling lights.
It's like everything else. You have to know where, when, and how.
The first time, the guy said it was a satellite, and it looked like you threw salt all over a black paper.
Scope on it,
Uh,
and you don't know how to look at it the right way,
yeah.
you're totally not going to see anything down the range. That's just the way life is, buddy. If you don't know how to do it, you won't get it, and you won't figure it out. You may figure it out after a long time, but when it comes to crunch time this very second, you may not get it.
You want to know what it looked like? It looked like you threw a bunch of Christmas lights out the back of a plane, and I was looking at them twinkling in the sky. That doesn't tell me it's stars. Yeah, well, most of the stars are white or yellow in the sky. They're not like blues and reds.
Yes, well, okay. When you get a good enough magnification, and you look at, like, even with a pair of binoculars, you get to see some of the true coloration of some of the things. That's why they always talked about, you probably fell asleep in class, but when they talked about astronomy, and they talked about...
They never talked about astronomy in any of my classes. You have to remember, I was in special ed. The teacher basically spent the whole time making sure we sat in our seats and actually stayed there instead of leaving. So some of us would walk out.
Anyway, we had situations where they talked about shift in color. And because of the way color and light work at great distances, further away things are, the further they shift into the red color range, and so on and so forth. Well, it's the same thing with bodies of stars and other phenomena you can see from space. And that's the thing, is there's so much to know and so much to understand that it isn't just that, okay, you've got a thing that's maybe the size of, I don't know, a family car, I guess, or maybe a little bit bigger around, and basically decided that it's moving at 177,000 miles, or 17,000 miles an hour minimum, right now, this minute, spinning around the planet, which is also moving at a great speed.
Yeah.
And if you line up all that stuff together, you have rocket science. Well, that's exactly what rocket science is figuring out exact numbers based on all of these factors. And then there's the random factors and so forth. And everything is a random factor, buddy. The sheer fact that the air moves can be a random factor. The temperature of the air right this minute makes it harder for you to see an object in space because of the way that things work.
Well, that stuff I already know, yes. I know that stuff. I do know that.
But that's the thing. There's no perfection, and there's no way to perfectly time things. You're right. It would be fantastic if they get pictures from space. But we don't have stuff dedicated that does that. Now, if you want to start a company that does that, so between now and 2028, we're all ready to go. Hell yeah, go get those people going. Start them today. But that's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Until we have people that make things that do stuff that people want done, they don't exist. There are things that were made and created by accident that ended up working fantastic. That's great, but that is not the usual thing.
See, I don't understand where it, I just don't.
Well, That's the thing. There's so many limitations, and there's so many things that could go right and wrong. You gotta be able to be ready for everything, and you can't be.
I understand you can't be ready for everything, Mike. I understand that. But what I'm saying, as I said before, why can't they plan to at least try these things? A monumental thing, and they're not doing it. Anyways, I don't understand it, folks. We got to go on another break. I'm getting frustrated. I'm pounding the table as I'm speaking. Our phone number is 607-238-3816. Our email is snorkelinginthesandbox@yahoo.com.
Yeah.
We'll be right back right after that.
From fertility rites to human sacrifice, Christopher Lee and Bert Eklund star in Anthony Shaffer's internationally award-winning fable of the ancient gods, The Wicker Man, the most controversial film of the decade.
I am Lord Summer Isle. You say we are barbaric heathen. You say our sexual rituals are perverse. You say we committed murder. I say you are fools. I say we know the true way of the greatest God. I say your sexual practices are deviant. We love the flesh, even as we burn it. Ah, the sweet smell of burning flesh.
The Wicker Man, a tale unfolding in mystery and ending in an all-consuming revelation of terror.
When tombstones topple and coffins creak open, and the deadly, delectable lady in lavender searches for fresh victims, that is the time to see Phantasm, a fiendish undertaking. Oh yes, and it does have a burial plot. Phantasm, if this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead. Phantasm from Avco Embassy Pictures, rated R.
Eddie's Mobile Homes announces the home you'll be proud to come home to. Permadwell, the sectional home that offers all the livability and features of a conventional home at one-half the price. This floor plan offers a formal living room, dining room, den, with 3 bedrooms and 2 full baths. The kitchen is equipped with frost-free refrigerator, continuous cleaning electric range, and dishwasher. Each detail has been carefully coordinated to excite any homeowner. Select from other floor plans that are available, or you can design your own. Imagine buying your own home with all these features and over 1,500 square feet of livability for only $14 per square foot. Compare this sectional home to conventional housing. Permadwell, the home you'll be proud to come home to. Available exclusively at Eddie's Mobile Homes with 3 locations to serve you. A call right now to Mr. Norman Roofing and Siding can mean a big improvement in the way your home looks. If you need siding, if you need to fix that overhang, if gutters are faulty, if aluminum windows can restore beauty and insulation to your home, Mr. Norman is the man to put to work to get the job done right and at a cost you can afford. Now is the time for adding siding to your home. Call 864-7766 for a free estimate. Mr. Norman Roofing and Siding, 864-7766, the man you can trust.
Now, there's a math course on cassettes called Hooked on Math, which makes learning math simple. Simple because Hooked on Math is set to music. This way kids learn quickly, like words to a song. And when they master addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, they'll go right to the head of the class. If you want your preschooler to excel, or if there's an older student who needs help with math, call 1-800-ABCDEFG. 1-800-ABCDEFG.
When will man ever learn that when he pollutes the air and the water, he declares war against nature? American International Pictures presents Frogs, the story of the day nature strikes back. It was bound to happen, but why now? Why did these particular people on that particular island face this particular kind of slithering, slimy terror? See Frogs, starring Ray Milland, Sam Elliott, Joan Van Ark, Adam Rourke, and Judy Pace. Frogs, an American International picture, in color rated PG. Frogs, today the pond, tomorrow the world. Frogs, frogs lay hundreds of millions of eggs every year. What would happen if they all hatched? American International Pictures presents Frogs, the story of the day nature strikes back. What strange sequence of events unleashed such a slithering, slimy tidal wave of fear? Why did these particular people on that particular island face this particular kind of terror? See Frogs, starring Ray Milland, Sam Elliott, Joan Van Ark, Adam Rourke, and Judy Pace. Frogs, an American International picture, in color, rated PG. Frogs, today the pond, tomorrow the world.
Ribbit. Hey, where is he? He usually complains by now because I'm riveting.
I'm here. You pissed me off.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sitting here, and I'm still wondering. I went outside to look up into the sky because people said that you can see the space, whatever it is. And I don't see anything in that sky. I don't even see clouds.
It's just like when you look for the ISS. You don't know what's not done. And what part of because of where you live are local.
Yeah.
And you have to know exactly where to look. I mean,
Yeah.
I
know that.
If you don't know what direction to look, you won't see it.
Well, why don't you walk over to that window and you tell me if you see anything but big skyscrapers and buildings and a dark, pale sky. I don't even see the moon. I don't see stars.
You don't try to look at stuff in city limits.
I don't even see Felcor. I don't even see the big luck dragon Felcor flying around the skies. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's the stars are not an infinite color range. It's not a light from the city is screwing up your ability to see anything clearly. You have to be. That's why the good astronomy. Yeah, good astronomy. Pardon me. I had astronomy and astrology confused my head again. Okay, good astronomy locations are almost always either outside of the city or in the country somewhere, because anything called light pollution, which a lot of your cities have because the streetlights are on all day, all night, screw up your ability to see the night sky.
Jellyfish.
That's why the ocean's a good place. That's why the mountains are a good place. Places far away from the cities. Because you have to be. Like, there are parts of the Midwest that are beautiful for freaking looking at the night sky because there's nothing for hundreds of miles. Some places in the United States, there are thousands of miles. Unfortunately, some of those places are like in deserts or immense forests or, things like that. I mean, folks don't realize how big the United States actually physically is.
I realize that.
Large areas like parts of China, you could just head the wrong direction and never see a big city because you've gone the wrong compass heading.
I realize that. I realize it. I understand what you're saying. But I think I just think things could be done differently and other things could be planned better so that this thing could be better seen, better looked at, better arranged. Whatever you call it.
Different kinds of ideas.
Uh-huh.
And you've got the people who can maybe make these people safe to get them to and from the moon, okay?
Yeah.
They're not the ones that think about photo opportunities. They're not the ones that think about optics. I mean, they do. Okay. If part of the mission is to take pictures of stuff on the moon or maybe the planet.
Well, it's an interesting thing you bring that up.
They're not thinking about taking pictures. They're not thinking about the money shot from Earth.
Okay.
They're thinking about the money shot that's involved in the mission, whatever the mission's money shot is.
Well, like I just said, it's very interesting you bring that up. Because mission, for the people who don't know, there is probably a room full of 50 people. And like you said, one is for this thing, one is for that thing, one is for the landing gear, one is for the breathing and oxygen, one is just for the speed of the ship, and that's all they pay attention to all day long. They're each doing a different task. I understand. Yes, but the people who don't know, that's the way NASA has always been. That's kind of a militarized way of doing things where, you do that one job and don't pay attention to anybody else, because it's important to know that. I think it's kind of brilliant. I think it's very unique. I think it's a way of doing things that are different. But I don't know. These AI photos, I looked at more, because I actually have an app where I can look up in the sky. It told me some Big Dipper or something thing is supposed, some square thing is supposed to be up there. I can't find it, but I don't. I have never seen the space station, but I have seen a large.
I have done it on several occasions with my naked eye. Like, I know there's one patch of land that I go to on regular occasions, and if I know that I'm going to be there roughly between the hours of 8, like 9:30 or something like that, and if I look and it's a clear night, I can actually see the darn thing tracking.
Well, see, I looked, and also this is a space shuttle, so you're not going to see it. It's going to move faster than. So if it's supposed to be somewhere at 9 o'clock, and you look up there at 9, it could be in the 9:03 area. I realize that. I know movement. I know speed. I know what they're trying to do, but I don't know. But anyways, I saw something very interesting on this thing. It said that it has the first African American that's been near the moon, which I did not. I always thought they had somebody else, and the first woman has been by the moon, or as we said earlier, the only woman that they're going to put on the record. And something about the way the spaceship is made and fueled is different. It's pretty interesting about the space shuttle. It's not the big black and white shuttle thing all of us kids had toys of.
This is what they call a capsule. A capsule is a shape to like a point of a missile sort of thing, and unless it's changed configuration in a major way, it has a rounded bottom to try to deflect the heat and temperature that happens when it's coming down for a landing, because they brought in unless they do it a different way. I may be corrected here. I may have to look it up because I haven't looked this part up. But if it's a capsule like they traditionally do a capsule, it's shaped a particular way to try to get the heat shielding and everything to react against the air pressure as it comes back into the atmosphere.
And like you said before, they're looking at the dark side of the moon. So they're looking at the one that's away from us, that looks towards...
Which?
Oh, I don't know what planet.
Yeah.
The dark side of the moon is facing Pluto. If it's away from... Yeah, facing Pluto. So how are they going to get to Mars if they're... Well, Mars is that way, I believe. Anyways, 238,900 miles from the Earth to the moon.
Something to keep in mind is that not all the planets line up at a particular times and places. I mean, that's the thing that you don't realize. There's so many balls in the air, so to speak. I mean, symbolically and figuratively. That, right now, because of the phase of the moon and where everything lines up, we're in I can't remember what segment of them. Okay, it's not the new moon. I can't see my moon indicator from here too easily on my watch. So that's it for now for me. But that doesn't mean that Pluto will be in that direction in 2028. I mean, it all depends on exactly.
If you think about it, Mars is the 4th planet from the sun.
Yeah.
So they're trying to find a place to launch stuff to Mars. It's actually unique how the Earth is. We're not going to get into the whole thing on how I believe what we are and all that. But anyways, as I was saying, 238,900 miles from the Earth. And they're going to go around the Earth, and then they're going to come back that. So they're going to double that. I can't even do that much math in my head.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know this, but the moon from the Earth is considered one astronomical unit.
That's 477,800 miles they're going to travel, plus whatever they're going to go around the moon.
And the Earth.
That's how much they're going to travel. Now, if I can figure out how much that is in layman's terms for everybody, I think I have it. Um, I'm not sure, but I
Didn't you look it up and see how much of a distance it was from where we are in New York City or something?
well, New York to California is about 2,900 miles. So that is 83. The moon is 83 times from New York to California back and forth. Now, if you times this by 2, it's 481,400 miles to the moon and back. Roughly.
And that's not even counting the revolutions around the moon either.
Yes, so going to there and back. So 83 times 2 is 166 times back and forth from New York to California. That's what you would have to do. So about 165 times, roughly, 164 times, roughly, anywheres of that nature. About, if you want to round it off to make it real simple, it's 160 times back and forth from New York to California is this trip there and back. Yeah.
Just to get off the planet, to get into orbit,
Yeah.
they have to move the vehicle over 17,000 miles an hour.
17,000 miles an hour. What is that? What is that? I don't even want to know how many G's that is.
I'm sorry, what was that now?
I don't want to know how many G's that is.
I don't know. But, oh yeah, if you go from 0 to whatever, yeah. But what I'm saying, though, is to actually escape the gravity and go into orbit, you have to go 17,000 miles an hour.
That is just crazy. How can the human body do that?
Well, they figure things out.
Well, that's not something that I would want to do.
You didn't sign up for it.
Well, of course I didn't. You think
the
I would?
capsule is 40% larger than the original Apollo size capsule in 1972 and before. And this model of capsule is called the Orion capsule.
You're telling me they named the capsule. So this capsule is the Orion capsule. What were the other
model name?
What were the other ones? What they just named?
I don't know. I only looked up stuff for this. I was basing myself on videos I watched. I can tell you the name of the command crew. I can tell you all kinds of things if you want to hear.
Okay, go ahead.
The commander is Reed Weitzman. Victor Glover is the gentleman of color who's flown over 40 different types of airplanes, and at least a handful of them are actual combat vehicles that were in the military. And then Christina Cook, our mission specialist, who's the lady, has a space record of 328 days in space flight when she was aboard the ISS, International Space Station.
Okay.
And Jeremy Hansen, the Canadian gentleman, is such an excellent astronaut that he actually has been working for NASA to train NASA astronauts. So none of these people are dead weight.
So they've covered all their ground, so nothing goes wrong.
I'm sorry, what's that?
They've covered all their ground, so nothing goes wrong.
They try their darndest. I mean, we know from other things.
And through the wonderful internet that we have, I found out the names of the capsules. There is a single astronaut Mercury, 2-person Gemini, and Apollo command module for lunar missions, and currently the Orion capsule.
Yes.
There has been sample return capsules, Stardust, Osiris REX, and Boiler Point test capsules. Mercury 1961 to 63, Gemini 1965 to 66, Apollo command 1968 to 1972.
See, I told you, 1972.
Boiler Point capsules used in Mercury and Apollo programs, test parachutes escape systems without risking live crew. SpaceX Dragon 2, privately owned by SpaceX. So they are the capsule names. I have to look this stuff up because I don't know. I don't.
I have a quote that I'm sure news agencies, whoever, already quoted, but we're going to quote it anyways. And when they were going to launch the vehicle, Commander Jeremy Upstart.
What? So, anyways.
Well, anyway, the quote is "going for all mankind, for all humanity." That's an interesting quote.
Well, here's a question: why can't they use that space shuttle to open up its doors on the top of it and get a capsule out and then go to the moon and then bring it back to the space shuttle? But why can't they do that?
The space shuttle is a limited vehicle. It was only designed for the orbit. It was an orbital vehicle. It wasn't made to go into deep space. It wasn't, I guess, sustainable or something. I didn't design it, so I couldn't tell you. But there's something about it. It's not made to go too far. Some of your adventure movies and danger movies and all those things where they've got it, like Armageddon or whatever, has them going quite a distance. Maybe it can. I don't know. But somebody decided it was too old or too long in service, so they don't use them. There's at least one museum in the United States that has one of the shuttles as an actual demonstration vehicle.
Yeah.
If not more of them.
Well, here's my question on this. If anybody can answer it, maybe if you can't, somebody else can. What shuttles and what things do they have throughout the entire history of man going to space? Even Russians, the French. Well, I don't know if the French ever did, but I know they have a space something to do with it. China. I know. Oh, what's the other one that has England, Canada? I think Mexico even has something.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they all had shuttles or not. No idea.
Well, they all have something to do with some kind of space program, either looking or something.
Even Japan has, I think, both the national and private concerns that launch space vehicles too, and so does India, and I can't remember some other countries.
And I don't know if any independents exist outside of major ones that we hear about, like small corporations or small, whatever you call it. I'm not sure about that at all. I've often wondered how far it can go before they say stop. This is you're disrupting whatever. I mean, launching missiles and putting stuff in space. There's already junk up there as it is.
It's like anything else, buddy. I think there's a way to do a flight plan, and it's just like if you were going to take an airplane off and you plan to go into whatever the navigatable airspace is.
No, I'm at owning all this and doing it and getting the. I mean, putting a rocket on a launch pad.
That's what I was talking about, though. There are laws about who can own what and what you can use and what you can own, and if you were to launch a damn thing like that movie, there's a couple movies, I'm sure, but there's one called Astronaut Farmer or Farmer Astronaut or something like that.
Yeah.
And the guy went and built the thing, and he had everything except for the fuel, and then mysteriously he could launch.
Okay.
And it was this big deal, and he had FBI guys who were watching him or something. And evidently, he had figured out a way to outsmart them in some way. So that was the movie. He took off. I can't remember if he went all the way into space or went around once and came back. I don't know what he did, but he made his vehicle take off. And then before that, if you know very classic old TV shows, there was a show where, would you believe, the guy from Mayberry, the Andy Griffith guy, Andy Griffith?
Yeah.
Actually was the star of a show called Salvage One, which was also a TV movie before that.
Okay.
Where this junk guy, what do you call it?
Stanford and Son? You mean like Stanford and Son?
No, much better.
Oh.
This guy had like the one that there's been a couple of now. Transformers movies where they're in the big recycling garbage places, whatever, where the guys get trucks and pieces and parts and things and whatever, and it's this, acres and acres of it, whatever. Well, this guy had one of the salvage yards like that, except for he could wheel and deal. Like he might have picked up, who knows, I don't know, whatever, kind of a car or something. And because he got this kind of a car, he found out there's a guy over at this other place over the phone that wants the motor. And then this other guy wants, I don't know, the frame or whatever, or the doors. So he pays so much for this vehicle, and then he parts it out, and he makes lots of money. Well, this guy had a finger on the pulse of everything. So he even found motors from the old space program that were supposed to go to scrap. He saved them. And he used a cement mixer, the actual cement mixer part, the part where the cement goes into.
Yeah.
And it's a space capsule. Now, who knows how much of this crap would never work? Probably 90% of it. But it was a nice kind of a fantasy that some guy might have been able to build it if he had to be successful.
It was an actual TV show, just a movie.
It was a movie first. And I guess it took off popular or whatever. Maybe it was in the works to become a show anyway. And for at least a part of a season, if not a whole season, the main characters all were involved. Andy Griffith and then this guy that was there, his hero, I forgot what the name of the guy's, main character guy. And they flew the damn thing, and they made it where it would land. So instead of it being stages like the rocket that's currently going, all but the capsule goes into space or stays here or stays in an orbit, whatever, breaks away. His whole thing made it so that where all the fuel went to was also where all the cargo would go. And he'd be able to land the damn thing upright when he gets back.
Well,
who knows if that's realistic? I don't know.
It doesn't make any. It doesn't make. What am I trying? Making the world of sci-fi. If they're doing actual real stuff.
Well, what was funny is one of the gimmicks, at least in the movie, was...
But a lot of movies put sci-fi elements in there that would never happen, especially if they're older movies, like the 1950s through the 70s, before we got into this heavy... If you look in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, a lot of stuff that's in that stuff is like, wow, they were either predicting the future or they were just crazy to even think that stuff was in there, because that would never have happened.
Well, it's just like there's been a couple of things that they've invented, like basically the original Star Trek series invented the cell phone, the flip phone, because the communicator. And some of the stuff they did, like flat screen TV, that was the imager, the screen.
What, in Star Trek?
Yeah, think about that.
Okay.
On screen, Mr. Sulu.
Yeah.
That's a flat screen TV sitting there.
Well, it's the filament that had it there, yeah.
Oh, yeah. For movie purposes, I'm sure they just flipped it over to showing a video or whatever, or special effects or whatever they did. But when that was happening, TVs were a big chunky thing sitting either on its own on the ground or on a pedestal, which probably weighed 60 pounds.
And I bet you other shows did it and movies did it, but I believe Star Trek... Well, Star Trek was the first one that you saw them looking at something, and then it showed them looking at it, kind of like they erased the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Kind of deal, but I'm not sure if other movies did it, but Star Trek was unique.
It was a flat screen TV, basically a flat screen TV. I mean, there were things they invented that maybe people got inspired by the show.
The tablet, for one. Our tablets, for one.
Oh, yeah.
All a tablet is a bigger cell phone.
Oh, yeah, but when they were put together, though, it was first thought of as a place to do notes.
Yeah.
And there's an entire thing, how it's made. And there was the guy that made the first one that worked.
Yeah.
And they even covered the people that tried to do the first one that failed, the one by Apple or whoever. And that one didn't work so good, but the guy that made the one afterwards really took off. And there's a whole story about that. But anyway, that's a separate issue. But anyway, there are things that were invented because people saw it in an idea, or an idea was carted around so much that somebody says, what if we could make one?
Well, here's the big thing that I don't understand. That is, what do you call it? It's the big, the major point, the balloon popper. is that a lot of these movies that we're talking about in the 1940s and 50s were in a time when somebody should have said, let's look at that a little better. They were predicting and thinking the person needs a control knob here, or the helicopter that's in the war that we're flying and the plane has this, so why can't a spaceship have it?
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff, except
After
for
World War II, for the next, say, at least 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
they were all people that were maybe in the military, or maybe they were.
but
whatever,
except for that,
had these ideas in them.
but except for the plans of a spaceship going into space, where we do uncharted worlds, I think as Star Trek said it, we have something that is designed based on something here on Earth. However, it wasn't. It was a total new concept. Like in several of the movies, the spaceship that you sat in that went straight up into the air was sitting like you're sitting at your table now, or your desk, or on your couch. And then the whole room would show them going sideways, and it was like the room tipped with the ship. There was other thrusters and boosters and engine components that we are just developing now, or realizing that they would work. There's also tail fin designs. There's also circular momento, the stuff that makes it go faster by the way the wind goes around it or whatever, the dynamic. And a lot of that stuff was put into those things. And then when they crash, the noses were made so if they crash in dirt, it'll drill right into the dirt, and nobody inside would be harmed.
Well, it's like their car. Think about how many cars you've driven and didn't realize that they have what's called a crumple zone.
Yeah.
They purposely made it so the motor doesn't just basically skewer you with the steering wheel.
Yeah.
So that was a problem somewhere in the 60s.
Well, here's the thing about these movies. Back then, people accepted all this stuff. They didn't think. They didn't do like we do today. No, but I meant they don't go and they say, well, let's open up our role-playing game and incorporate all of this stuff into it. They just said it was like that, and okay. Or people didn't even know the movie made it up. They thought it was based on real design.
Or they got themselves involved in what's called speculative fiction, because that's what they called it before science fiction came in.
What was it called?
Speculative fiction.
Okay.
So there were people who were making science fiction before it was called science fiction.
Oh, okay.
Like the first one ever was oh sure, I forgot the gentleman's name now. But basically, the guy that invented the idea of John Carter going to.
If I'm not mistaken, it was Edgar Rice Burroughs, and then there was the guy that wrote the Call of Cthulhu. And then there was other pulp fiction gentleman, and then Doyle, Verne, what was, anyways, Baum, the guy who wrote Wizard of Oz, Baum. They all made this science fiction. So
in and out that some ideas kind of took off. Like they call Arthur C. Clarke invented satellite ideas. So with the satellite ring that goes around the Earth, it's called the Clarke Belt. People don't know that because he inspired it.
Didn't Arthur C. Clarke also? Oh, I forgot the other guy's name. That Carl Sagan. Weren't those two friends? And Arthur C. Clarke wrote the Odyssey, the 2001, whatever it is, Odyssey, the one where the red thing tells the guy it ain't gonna do something in the computer. And it's the first movie with an AI intelligence in it.
Yeah, well, that and the fact that it's an IBM computer, too. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, an IBM.
Yes, it is.
International Business Machines.
Because they knew at the time that, IBM computers were a thing.
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing about all those companies. Back in the day, they would put a Coke can or a Pepsi can, or like Reese's Pieces and E.T. is a prime example. They were advertising. I don't know if they were paid to do it, but they would advertise products in the movies.
Product placement is paid.
Yeah, yeah, it's some kind of subliminal advertising, and movies did it because you saw Reese's Pieces in the movie E.T. So now you may go out, you might want to go out and get Reese's Pieces.
Could you imagine that you had the possibility as M&M Mars to be at the ground floor, and you know what happened?
Mars and Murray. Mars and Murray, thank you.
Yeah, but whoever. Anyway,
Okay.
the people who did Reese's Pieces were a separate company.
Hershey's.
Yes, but anyway, they ended up making a big profit because of how popular it was. The movie.
Well, did you also know that Reese's and Hershey made money because Mars and Murray and a few other candy companies bought chocolate from him, Hershey?
Yeah, they were the center of the market for chocolate in North America for.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mars used the same recipe. So it's actually Hershey's candy, a chocolate in a Mars candy coated shell. But you didn't hear that from us, folks. Don't take that to heart. Don't tell anybody I told you. I don't want to get in trouble for telling you the secrets of the company. Anyways, Twizzler did something else, and what's the other one? Nestle, and I forgot the other candy company. Tootsie Roll is another one. They all had different recipes based on a chocolate format, and even Hershey made his chocolate based on another recipe that was around in the day, because Hershey wasn't the only candy company back then.
Stop the wedding. Hershey invented the milk chocolate that is now the standard in North America.
No, but what I'm saying is he did it. The chocolate that he was using, chocolate's been around forever.
Not Hershey himself, but the Hershey Company.
Yeah, the company, or the chocolate that was being used. He copied another person's way of doing something to try to make candy, and he came up with that recipe to do it easier with the milk in the chocolate and the way he did it with the kisses and all those machines. But that, like I said, chocolate has already been existed. So he copied somebody else. They copied somebody else.
Oh, yeah. That's
None of it's just like apple juice and apple cider and pineapple juice. Somebody else did it too. Orange juice is the most famous thing. It's all made the same way. It's just a name on a label smacked on a container. You realize that, right?
You know what? Yeah, but you want to go there because of the fact that there are some recipes that have particular ways they do things, and particular.
Yeah, but they all basically, orange juice is a squeezed orange in a container. That's all it is.
Well, keep in mind too, buddy, that most of the beverages you know and love, is water and stuff added to it.
Oh, yes, I'm not going to say the name of the company, but they add orange flavoring to make it flavorful because they have too much water in it. So you're not getting real oranges, you're getting it flavoring in their orange juice.
Oh, yeah.
And they also color it.
That's the thing. We're not here to tell secrets. We're just here to talk.
And have you ever seen orange juice? Have you ever seen real orange juice? Have you ever seen real orange juice?
Yes.
It's almost a clear liquid. So they add a coloring to it to make it that color.
I don't know where you've gotten it from, but I have gotten it when somebody's mechanically crushed the stuff in an actual thing with a plunger and everything, and it's orange, and sometimes it's got the pulp in it and a whole thing.
No, but it's not the orange coloring you see in the store. That stuff is
It can be orange colored because I've had that.
Yeah. It's like apple cider. We have a cider place here that just crushes the apples and pours it right into the jug.
Oh, yeah.
They don't add stuff. They don't fancy it. It's basically apple juice.
I miss when they had the machinery that just did it, and you had the samples right there. It was awesome when that.
And the difference between apple juice and apple cider is, I think, a 20% water content or something that's added. I forgot what it was, but I looked it up one time, And it's just amazing what's added into these companies' stuff.
Well, just like a lot of folks don't know, but half your juices out there are filled with apple juice.
Half the juices are filled with apple juice.
Juice, they fill it.
I don't understand that at all.
Well, if you got like grape juice or whatever, apple juice goes in because it's common and easy to get.
Yeah.
Like like nowadays, they use corn syrup is a sugar, because in the United States they make so much corn that they've figured out a way to make sugar out of cornstarch.
Well, the corn syrup is also put in the stuff like honey is a good example, and to be organic honey, I think it even some of our organic products. That's why I don't like it, because of the simple fact that they have a content of that corn syrup you can pour in there. And it's still organic because the corn syrup's organic. And no, honey comes out of the honey is bee vomit put into a jar. I forgot the company or the guy that does it. His name is on it. He's a beekeeper. And it's like $22 a jar. Like a 5 inches tall jar by 2 inches wide. But the honey is absolutely wonderful, and it's worth the $22.
Yeah, but what you got to do, though, is you got to go to your farmer's market where they actually have it where it's the real Joe. It's the real stuff.
Well, I bought this at they do pumpkin farming, and they do other, like a farmer's market, only it's right on the farm is there.
Oh, yeah, but what I'm saying, though, is farmers markets have all kinds of beekeepers and whatever that are unsung heroes or small businesses or whatever. And yet people should go out and discover them.
There's two people that do organic beef, and there's a guy that does organic lamb. At the one.
One thing you can't get organic that everybody buys anyway?
Yeah.
Bananas.
Why can't you get organic bananas? You can't fake bananas.
Huh? They get cuttings from the same they cuttings basically, so every one of them's a clone.
Well, it's still organic. Still organic. You can't fake a banana.
No, it's not faking it. It's that organic is supposed to be under certain kind of conditions or whatever, and pesticide and whatever.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they can do that, but it's still a cloned thing.
Oh yeah, it's the seed population yeah, they keep using it. It's until
basically something goes wrong with that particular variety. That's why if basically. Maybe even people now, maybe they were born in the 80s or the 90s or whatever.
Do they do that with avocados?
I don't
Because
know.
avocados lately have all been a little weird too. I eat avocados like I do apples. I skin them and eat them.
Oh, they are good stuff.
You can't eat the skins or you'll get some kind of weird stuff in it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
The gist of it is that who knows how often long, something happens to the banana population that they use for the main source for all these, production places, whatever, you get fruit. And that's why you'll hear people, oh, God, the bananas you used to get in the 70s were this, and the bananas you got in the 80s were this. Because who knows how long, 15, 20 years, something happens to the kind of bananas they were using. And hopefully somebody has hybrid or whatever, a new kind.
Well, here's the thing about buying. We got a little off topic again, and we're going to have to get going here. But we had a wonderful topic about space today, which is a little different. Which, if you like these topics, folks, we would like to hear about it so we can have more of them. But here's a little thing about organic. You can have pesticides. It's just the amount. And the soil has to be a certain thing. And some organic foods that are sold in the store, we live in a state where you're allowed to call it organic because it's an advertising name, as long as you have something that says what the product is. So they'll say non-organic apples, and right on the sign it says organic foods, and right over the thing. But on the label, if you actually read the sign of that little yellow sticker that has the price on it, or white sticker, it says non-organic apples. So why are they putting it in the section of the store with it says organic? Why? Because it's an advertising thing to get you to come over. Then you see the price and buy. And a lot of these things that are organic, the apples are organic. They just spray them with some pesticides to get the bugs off them. They don't do anything more than the apples than that. So to me, if it's grown naturally without human interference, and the only thing you're doing is trying to kill bugs that are eating your crop, that's even more organic than the organic corn that's modified and mutated. Because I believe corn is mutated too.
Oh, yeah. There isn't much that isn't hybrid or something.
I won't.
Like wheat's supposed to grow over a foot tall.
I won't eat any of that stuff that's hybrid. I just won't do it.
Well, unfortunately, you're doing it anyways because it's all out there.
Well, you do realize there's sawdust in the macaroni and cheese.
You realize there's sawdust in bread.
Well, not really. That you can't. There's not sawdust in it. There's another filler in it that's made out of wheat. No, it's a corn husk filler that's molded into the bread or something. It's not. It's not the actual wood pulp sawdust that's put into the cheese products. But anyways, we've been here for a while. Thank you, Mike, for bringing the topic. I enjoyed talking different today.
Keep up on space news because you never know. You might find out you like it. Maybe
Well, the thing of it is, you know me, and the audience knows me. They know I'm conspiracy filled, and today I've let Mike talk because I knew if I got off on a tangent, we'd be here forever. There's a limit to our shows of 2 hours, and we're almost hitting it. And I have not blasted off at the mouth on anything, except for a few things.
we could have cut some conspiracies.
Well, no, I think the people got to know it. I think it's something that we could have done. I think it was stuff that we told them today that was important, and I always want to inform our listeners.
But I think this is the least, I think this is the least sex-involved episode ever.
I don't think we talked about sex at all. Anyways, folks, the phone number is 607-238-3816. Our email, snorkelinginasandbox@yahoo.com. Folks, it's been great, and we'll see you next time.
This is Uncle Mike signing off. Goodbye.